Can you hear me now? All right. I don't know what's happened there, but I think that now it's working. Oh man, I just get see. I just waffled for like a whole 5 minutes, and it didn't work. That's crazy. This is what happens with OBS and everything else. All right, so basically, starting over. Welcome back to the Waffle House. Today we're talking about fandom. I was starting off with basically why I named it the Waffle House, and I named it the Waffle House because of two reasons. Um, Waffle in the UK basically means just talking to talk. You know what I'm saying? And when I kind of started my coaching, I coached with a buddy of mine, and yeah, I was coaching, man. And he like after I was done doing my coaching bit, he's like, "Bro, you sure like the waffle?" Like, I was like, "Nah, I just be teaching. Like, I'm a teaching coach. That's I don't yell at kids. I like to teach them to do what they do." But he's like, "Yeah, man, you like the waffle." And then the other reason I call it the Waffle House, because if you're from South Florida, if you're from America, the Waffle House is a place where you can go and you can talk about anything, bro. Like you can go there after the club, you can go there after church, you can go there just it's like a 24-hour spot that you can go. You can take somebody on a date there. Like um you can get it for breakfast, lunch, dinner, but the waffles is why you go, but you can get grits and everything. Like but it's a place where I feel like there's always something. Like there's always something going on. There's always a crowd. Like it's just the Waffle House. Like you have to be from kind of South, and not just Waffle House. IHOP, Denny's. Like when you leave the club, when you're tired, like when you just want something to soak up the alcohol, the Waffle House, the IHOP, that's where you go. So that's why I call it the Waffle House because it's a night. It's at night. That's why the lights a little bit dim. It's just a chill spot, man. That's what I want this to be. It's not just Arsenal. It's not just football. Like it's just a chill spot. Um, I said Waffle House is my favorite. Give me an all-star breakfast any day. Hey, I ain't lying. That's the one thing I honestly miss living in UK, man. Like a good, they have waffles, but like they ain't got grits. Like you know what I'm saying. The pancakes are okay, but they like the thin pancake, like crepe joints. Like it's not the same, man. You can't. And also in the UK, there's not a space where you can like go 24 hours and get something to eat. It's unless you go into McDonald's, it's just not the same. Like when you come from the club here, when you come from a night out, you always go to McDonald's. The Waffle House is, yeah, it's one of the few things that I miss from. I mean, I miss food in general from America, but the Waffle House, just the vibes, just going there. As I said, after you gone out to a movie or you come from the club, or you just early, you want some grits, you want some waffles, you want some toast, like that's where you go. So that's why I called it the Waffle House. But today, I want to talk about being a fan. I want to talk about fandom. So, as you can see in the background, I have Arsenal. I have the Miami Dolphins. I got the Miami Hurricanes. As you can see, the Miami Hurricanes here. And I just want to talk about being a fan, man. Like, because it's one thing that I think it's one of the great things in the world is being a fan of something. Like, especially when it comes to sport. Being a sports fan it's amazing. Like for 90 minutes or 2 hours or in American football up to 4 hours. Like nothing else matters. Your bills don't matter. What your life outside of it doesn't matter for that time from when the whistle first blows to when the whistle finishes. You in a different place. You like transported to a different place. And I think that's the special thing about being a fan, man. And I think that I've been lucky enough to have frequented quite a few like sporting events. I've been to American football games. I've been to college games. I've been to basketball games. Um, I've been to baseball games, and it doesn't matter what sport you follow, whether it's cricket, rugby, like the fan is the lifeblood of whatever club, whatever institution. And yeah, I wanted to take tonight to just talk about being a fan, man, being um, a fan of a club. As you guys can tell, I'm an Arsenal fan, and I think I think I offer kind of a unique experience, because living in the UK, I do Arsenal, but a lot of those guys are just Arsenal fans, man. They're just football fans. They don't really follow other sports. You have the occasional, ones who might watch, a little bit of basketball or a little bit of American football. But like for me, it's different, man, because I grew up on sport. All right, I grew up on sport. Sport was everything. So, growing up in South Florida, growing up in Miami, growing up in Belgrade, like sport is the end all be all. Like I was playing football when I could hold the football. Like that's how much it meant to me. So like you start at a very early age to like a team. And one of the first teams that I liked was this one. This one, Miami Dolphins. It's pretty easy being born in Miami, and being from Miami. But yeah, man, being a fan of the Dolphins, being a fan of Miami sports teams in general, it's no easy thing, man. And I know that a lot of people who, are American fans, the difference I think with American fandom is you only get one chance to win. Like you only get one chance to win a title. It's not like, European football where you've got 4 trophies you can compete for. Crystal Palace won a trophy. Newcastle won a trophy. In America, your one team gets one shot in your sport to win a trophy. Like there's no consolation. And I think sometimes that makes it mean a little bit more. Not saying that the Prem doesn't mean anything, but like, seeing your team win, like the Dolphins, for example. I've been a Dolphins fan for 25 years. I've only seen us win one playoff game, and that was when I first started watching. Like 25 years, I haven't seen us win a playoff game, which means that I haven't seen us win a Super Bowl in 25 years. I mean, the Dolphins haven't won a Super Bowl in about 50 now at this point. And it's like when you support a team that has that slim chance of winning, or only has that one chance of winning, I feel like every win, every time you win, it means something. Like, growing up, the Patriots were nothing. The New England Patriots, they were a nothing team, bro. They were just like cannon fodder. And since I've been a Dolphins fan, I've watched the Patriots win, 6 Super Bowls? Like, and it's tough, man, because you only get one chance a year to win things, and it's like 25 years of not winning. It's tough. It's a tough experience. And what's up, Rick Jar? But yeah, it's a tough experience being a fan of a team that doesn't win, of a team that hasn't won. And I think that it's fitting that I have these 2 jerseys up here, because I think these 2 teams are kind of similar, not as far as the scale of the sport, but as far as kind of what they've been through. So, these 2 teams that I follow are 2 teams in their respective sport that have gone undefeated, invincible. They haven't lost a game. The Dolphins did it in 72. And of course Arsenal did it this year, 03, 04, right? So there's that kind of expectation when a team has gone undefeated. Luckily for me, I didn't watch the Miami Dolphins go undefeated. So I wasn't around. So I've never experienced that jubilation of us winning and then not winning. Whereas Arsenal fans, they've experienced that fairly recently. If you had asked the Arsenal fans of 2003, 2004, what happens next? They probably say, well, we've gone invincible. we win the league next season or we win in the Champions League. Fast forward 20 years, we've won neither. Like, and that's a tough thing. And I mean, for the Miami Dolphins not winning it for 50 years, like, I can just imagine. I find it tough being a fan for 25 years, but imagine you were at that 72, 73 season and you thought we would just keep winning and you had a little bit of hope with Dan Marino, and now you've never felt that again, bro. You've never felt it again. So, yeah, it's tough. It's a tough experience. With the Hurricanes, you know, it's like I said, it's similar to Arsenal. 03, 04, you know, we just lost the national championship. Thought we'd be back, you know, and we weren't. We weren't back until this year. So yeah, it can be tough sometimes, you know, going from the pinnacle, from winning things to not winning anything. Other sports team I support, I follow basketball. The Miami Heat. If you guys know LeBron, you know, 2010 to 2014, we had the Heatles. You know, Bosh, Wade, LeBron. Bro, when we won that first kind of championship, I thought we were just gonna run the gamut, man. I thought we shouldn't have lost to Dallas the first time, but we did. And then we shouldn't have lost to San Antonio. And then after we lost to San Antonio, it fell apart, bro. It fell apart. And we went from a dynasty, you know, LeBron sitting there saying, not gonna win 2, not gonna win 3, not gonna win 4, to winning 2 and him leaving. Like, it's tough. It's tough being a fan. Big up BBK in the chat. Ulrich says Pirates fan. Is that Pittsburgh Pirates? That's baseball? Or is that Orlando Pirates? Soccer. Let me know. But baseball baseball's been tough, man. Baseball, I grew up a Florida Marlins fan, and the Florida Marlins, you know what? The Florida Marlins were probably my first foray into knowing what it feels like to watch BBK. That's diabolical. I'll comment on that in a minute. But it was my first experience. We had just won the World Series, and I'm gassed. I'm thinking, and then I watch all of our best players leave. I watch our best players go to Detroit. I watch our best player go to the Red Sox. And those two franchises, right, hadn't won the World Series. The next couple years, I got to watch those teams win everything, right? So, like, it's kind of like when Van Persie left Arsenal to go to Man United, and you're watching your best player or one of your best players go, and they win everything. It's tough. It hurt. It hurt me. And when they became the Miami Marlins, I was just kind of like done. One, because they tore down this stadium, the Orange Bowl, to build their stadium, and they sucked. So I wasn't afraid. Read some of your comments. I have to comment on this because we are in the Waffle House. Taryn BBK said, All-Star Special, bacon instead of sausage. I agree. Hash brown, no grits. Hash brown. How can you eat at the Waffle House with no grits? If you guys don't know what grits is, I think it's milled corn. And it is a Southern staple. You have to have grits. That's crazy. That's it. That's right. It's blasphemy. Oric said Pittsburgh. Yeah. Oric said I did get to attend my first championship this year, so know what that winning feels like. It was the USL championship this year for Hounds. Interesting. Yeah, man. When you win a championship as a fan, when you win that championship, it is different, man. It's that elation. When we won on the grits, it's a texture thing. Yeah, I hear you. Some people are texture eaters. My wife is one of them. But she doesn't mind the grits. No, we've divulged, right? And this is why it's called the Waffle House, because we can go left and right. Grits has a taste if it's done correct. If you put cheese in it and you put salt, don't if they put sugar in grits, that's I can't. But if you put cheese and salt, yeah, it got a taste, man. Just hot grits, that's diabolical. So you don't like cream of wheat? Like you don't like oatmeal? Because oatmeal don't got no taste either, but you put, you put sugar. Exactly. Or add cheese or shrimp. That's it. That's exactly it. Not shrimp, though. Can't eat shrimp. I'm allergic. Sad face. But yeah, shrimp and get grits. Yeah, man. Nah. Porridge. That British porridge. That golden honey porridge. Um, Rick Josh said, imagine how it feels a Tampa Rays fan seeing all my players go to the Dodgers and win the World Series. Yeah, bro, I've been there. When we did the Fires, bro, I was gutted. And I think it's a Florida thing. Like, Rick Josh, I think it's a Florida thing because for a long time, a lot of teams would win. A lot of teams would win, and then people would poach their best players. Like, your Yankees or your Dodgers. I think that even if you look in basketball, Shaquille O'Neal got drafted by the Magic. And then guess what happened? The Lakers came calling because the Magic wanted to be cheap. The Magic, they didn't want to pay their play. And I think that's what happens as well. We win, and then Miami teams tend to get cheap. Like, oh, we ain't going to pay this guy. Like, and they end up leaving. They're like, oh, we're not going to, I don't get it. You have to spend money. The Yankees have figured it out. The Dodgers have not. You got to spend money. And with baseball, it's different because they ain't got no salary cap. You can, as we see with the Dodgers, they can buy as much as they want. They can spend as much as they want. And there's no salary cap. So now they're buying, they're getting Ohtani. They're getting all these studs, and they just going to keep winning. Like, we could have did. It's Miami. Who doesn't want to live in Miami? Would you rather live in cold New York or Miami? Now, I get the Yankees, because the Yankees are like Real Madrid. The Yankees are the Real Madrid of baseball. Like, most people, if you play baseball, you dream about putting on the Yankee pinstripe. I get it. I understand. But at the time, we had the Marlins pinstripe. Put that on. Same, but different. You know what I'm saying? You got to do too much to grits to get it to taste good. Cheese, that's it. Cheese and salt. That's what you put in most stuff. Cheese and salt. It's not that hard a thing. One day, BBK, we'll invite you to the house. We'll invite you to the house and get you some real grits. My wife make grits and pancakes and eggs. And grits is one of those things, like, once you eat it, you gotta go sit down. You gotta go lay down. You're gonna be out. For a long time. So, yeah, I like grits. Since you in the chat, Orit, and Rick Jar, BBK, what's your favorite sport team of all time? Right, your favorite. Like, if you had to pick a sports team, what's your favorite sport team? Which now, I know that most of you gonna be Arsenal fans, so I'm not talking about that. Besides Arsenal, what's your favorite sport team? Right? Me, it's a toss-up, man. It's a toss-up. It's a toss-up between this team and that team. I'm a Miami boy, so I like all Miami sports. I was happy that the Florida Panthers, even though they're not Miami-based, they're South Florida-based, they won. But I think if I had to guess, and I had to kind of put forth a team, it'll probably be the Hurricanes, man, over the Dolphins. And I love the Dolphins. I love the Dolphins and everything. For me, I feel like the Hurricanes are more ingrained than the Dolphins, if that makes sense. I feel like the Dolphins had a period where they were good, but when you say the U, it's Miami. It's Miami. Like when you say the U, it's Miami. And if we're picking like years, the '01 Miami Hurricanes, like them dudes, we talking Hall of Famers. We're talking your Ray Lewis's and your Ed Reed. Like we're talking about guys like even that, like the 98, or is it 97, 98 team, I think. But the U, when you think about the U, man, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Sean Taylor, Greg Olson, you think about some of those players that came, like that team, bro. It's hard not to love the Hurricanes. But I feel like the Hurricanes more than the Dolphins are ingrained in Miami, because the Dolphins can move overnight. If you're a fan of the NFL, you've seen St. Louis do it. I mean, the Ravens weren't a team before. Like they were the Browns, and they became the Ravens. The Houston Oilers became the Tennessee Titans. The Rams moved from St. Louis, from LA to St. Louis, back to LA. Like, you could move. The University of Miami is staying. It's never going. If the university shuts down, that's the only way my Hurricanes are going away. And that's why I think I feel a little bit more with it. As for Orit said, if I had to pick my favorite team out of all it has to be Pittsburgh Penguins. 91 and 93 was when I was just starting to get into following sports, those cup runs. Yeah, the Penguins were good for a while, man. The Penguins were good for a while. Sidney Crosby, later than 93, obviously, but yeah, man. With the Panthers, yeah, the early 90s, like what, 97, 99. I love that. I got that. That'll probably be one of the ones I bring out when I do my show and tell. As I'm gonna talk about these later on as well. But yeah, man, that Panthers team, that Penguins team, yeah, I get it. BBK said that's a tough one. 2007 New York Giants. Yeah, the Giant Killers, man. Eli Manning, Plaxico Burress, when they beat that New England Patriots team, David Tyree on the helmet catch. Yeah, I hear that. I was glad for it because I love when the Patriots lose. We couldn't capitalize, so we was like, hey, somebody got to stop them. And I also think 2007, if I'm not mistaken, was the year they went undefeated. I'm pretty sure that was the year they undefeated. So I was definitely hoping that they beat, because we still gonna be the undefeated team. We still want to be the undefeated team. You have to put 17 things in how many corn porridge, and you don't want to have patience, regret, sadness. Yeah. Anyone put 17 things in how many corn should never cook again. Yeah. You know what? It's crazy as well. And my wife is part Jamaican. I am not a fan, and this might be blasphemous, everyone. Please don't cancel me. I'm not a fan of ackee and saltfish. I'm not a fan. I don't like fish normally. And then the ackee, I just can't. I couldn't get behind. And I know it's not. I've been to Jamaica and I've tried ackee and saltfish. It's not how they cook it. I just don't like it. I don't like it. Now rice and peas, all day. Jerk chicken, all day. Oxtail, all day. But I hold my hands up. Nah, I can't do ackee and saltfish. If it's seafood, even I'm part Bahamian, conch salad. Yeah, if they take my car, it's fine. I can't. Arroz con pollo, that's my joint. I actually made arroz con gandules the other day. Brian, big up. 98 Yankees, 07 Giants, 03 Syracuse basketball with Carmelo. Carmelo is one of the players, him and Chris Paul, that I wish would have gotten the title. I feel like he deserved it, man. Carmelo, like those players, Carmelo, Wade, James, all those guys, I feel like they changed basketball. And that could just be because, after the Jordan era, 03, 04, we were looking for a spark, man. Like, you had you had the Lakers, you had the dominant Lakers, you had, Shaq and Kobe, but you were looking for like a spark, man. And then when you had the '04 Pistons, you had you know, the Miami Heat of '06, like you had San Antonio. Those times right there, like the early 2000s, maybe until we did the whole super team thing, bro. I feel like that's the best era of basketball. Like from when Jordan retired to maybe 2010 when the super team era. I feel like you'll never get basketball like that again, bro. Like you had Dwayne Wade, you had Kobe Bryant, Melo, you had AI, you had Chris Bosh, Tim Duncan. I just feel like you'll never get that again. You'll never get that again. Because now everybody wants to be on a super team, and it's our fault. It's our fault. It's the Miami Heat fault. But nah, you never get that again. Justin Tuck, O.C. Strahan, beast on that line. So I'm a defensive lineman. That's what I coach. That's what I play. And Michael Strahan is one of my favorites. Partially because people used to, say that I look like him. But, no, we don't. We just got we both got gaps. It's fine. But, I've always liked defensive linemen. I've always liked middle linebackers. And that team, that '07 Giant, yeah, bro. All Eli had to do was not give the ball away. That's it. Don't give the ball away. And I love defense, like the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. I love those. The Legion of Boom. I love defense, bro. I love defense, and I love good defensive linemen. Like Aaron Donald, that sure Hall of Famer. A man that big, not just him. What's his name? Myles Garrett. Those two dudes, you should not be that big and be able to move that quickly. Like, when you think about some of the defensive linemen, like, even from that '07 and before, like, Haloti Ngata, like, some big dudes. You had, like, Warren Sapp. Like, you had those. They were big dudes. They were stuffers, man. Vince Wilfork, that's what they did. They stuffed the line. But when you have a guy like Aaron Donald who can move like a linebacker but has the strength of a defensive tackle, I don't think, like, how do you... It's beautiful to me, man. It's beautiful. Yeah, Orozco Campoyo, my joint. Fat Smith, two of our favorite players. Love me some CP3. Wish he won it with the Suns. Yeah. I would... You know what? And this might be crazy. I wish that maybe they had let that super trade go. I don't... Like... What was he going to the Lakers? I wish they kind of let it happen, man. I wish they kind of let it happen. Because Chris Paul with the Hornets was amazing, man. But I feel like he deserved to go and get a ring. And I don't understand how they stopped that trade from happening. But they let the big three happen. They let Golden State happen. But nah, Chris Paul, we don't like you enough to allow you to become a super team. And come on. It's crazy and diabolical. But yeah, he probably should have won with the Suns as well. Ravens defense with Ed Reed and Ray Lewis was scary. Listen, just because Ed Reed and Ray Lewis, I follow them because they came from the University of Miami. That Ravens defense, boy. Terrell Suggs. I said, hello, yeah. Oh my goodness, that defense. Yeah. Them and the Steelers, man. Those games where you used to have the Steelers defense with like oh gosh, what's his name? Like Joey Porter, Troy Polamalu. Those games, oh my goodness. The Steelers and Ravens, broski. Yeah, the 2000 Super Bowl, the Ravens. Ray Lewis was another one, man. A man that big should not be able to... Not only was Ray Lewis big and strong, but his mentality. Like, the way he just studied the game. Like, just... The way he would move and attack. Yeah, man. Like, him and Jerome Bettis. Like, the unstoppable force meeting a movable object. Because that guy was a freight train, bro. That guy was a freight train. Absolute slobber knock. Yeah, Troy Polamalu, and I don't know if you guys look at the Pivot podcast, right? Pivot podcast has got Fred Taylor. It's got Fred Taylor, Channing Crowder, and Ryan Clark. And those three players, man. So first off, Fred Taylor comes from Belle Glade, the town I grew up in. And he was amazing. I thought his son was gonna be, just as great, but I don't think he. I feel like sometimes when you are the son of a superstar, like look at Jordan's kids, it's really hard to kind of come. But Channing Crowder, I used to love that guy, bro. When he played with this guy, like when he played with Jason Taylor, those guys, bro, like Channing Crowder, yeah, he was a hitter as well. But Ryan Clark, right? Ryan Clark was a guy, and he talks about it. That guy just had no regard for his life, his safety, nothing. He would come across the field, and Polamalu used to do it too. That was back when you could actually play football. Now they care about CTE and all that stuff. But when you had guys like Ed Reed, bro, Sean Taylor, I have a few non-Miami Dolphins jerseys, and I just looked at them tonight because I was trying to find one of the ones I'm going to talk about tonight. And I've got Willis McGahee, I've got Larry Fitzgerald, and I have Sean Taylor. Sean Taylor in college was a beast, bro. The man knocked. He knocked the punter out, bro. Like in a Pro Bowl. Like I miss those. And P30 writes, 2000 Baltimore Ravens, greatest defense ever, bro. Those dudes, bro, knocking blocks off, man. And I feel like I miss that style of football. I feel like sport as a whole has become safe, and I get it. I get it where you have to be safe. You want your players to have longevity. But for a lot of sports, right? For a lot of sports, I feel like the late 90s and early 2000s is where it peaked. And chat, I don't know if you agree with me, but if you think about the major sports, right? Even football, right? The 90s when you had Zidane, you had Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, you had the Italians, you had David Beckham. Like, you had the greatest players in the world from the 90s and 2000s. American football, we're talking about the Patriots. We're talking about the Ravens. We're talking about the Steelers. The Giants. We're talking about great players. Just bang, bang, like knocking blocks off. Even baseball, Manny Ramirez, CC Sabathia, Derek Jeter, Alex Rodriguez. I'm naming New York guys. Mike Lowell. You had some of the greatest baseball players we've ever seen. I mean, in the 90s, you had Deion Sanders playing, both ways, like playing two sports. Like, I feel like the late 90s and early 2000s, like, it's the greatest kind of decade of sport we'll ever see, and we're ever going to see again, bro. Like, for so many sports, even college, before Alabama's dominance, like when you had guys like Nebraska, Miami, Ohio State, like, it was just, I feel like sports was a little bit more level, but it was so exciting to watch. And now it's become safe. People care about money, and, I'm going to sit out, like basketball, I'm going to sit out because I'm load managing. Like, what? Load management. I get it, longevity. You've got guys like LeBron who want to go 20 years, but man, I want to see Malice at the Palace. I want to see, when the late Jordan, you had Scottie Pippen and those guys, just the bad boy piss. You just bullet, like, that's, I want to see that sport again, but I don't think we ever will. So If you're lucky enough to have seen it, you got it. Go back to the comments. Brandon Jacobs with linebacker playing around. Yeah, that dude was huge. That dude was massive. Mark Bradshaw as well. Bowling ball. I only know Channing the person, and he's a funny cat. He is funny, but Channing the player, yeah, Channing the player was one of my favorites as well, man. I like him. I like Channing Crowder. I'm only a passive watcher, but it seems like the grid has left a lot of sports. Waffle House, pun intended. Yeah, but that's what we do. This is the Waffle House, right? So, yeah, we just waffle, but yeah, man, some of the great, and a lot of what you guys are naming, like, I see the 2000, 98 Yankees, 03 Syracuse, like most of your guys, and maybe that's because we're old, but a lot of what you guys put was 90s teams. It was 90s and early 2000s team, and I feel like that's when sport peaked. I agree with many sports though. Premier League and hockey seem to be still pretty. So ice hockey, I feel like is the last bastion of just pure aggressive sport. Not including MMA. I'm talking about team sport here. It's the last sport where you can fight somebody, take 5 minutes, come back and win the game. Like, now, just if you look at like sport now, and even American football, if you hit the quarterback too hard, penalty. Like, basketball, you've got LeBron is what, 6'7", 6'8", 250 pounds. Bro, I've watched this man literally get touched on the arm and flop like he's just been shot out of a cannon. Like, you watch guys like Vinicius and Neymar was terrible at it. Neymar would get touched and roll around like somebody literally took a baseball bat and hit him in the leg. Like that's what we're watching now. And you look at even in the Prem, right? And you say with Prem, how many times have you watched like guys get touched and roll around and they're not really injured? Like you watch a guy go down and he's like looking around for the foul and then he hops back up and keeps running. Like, it, to me, that's not kind of gritty. I think where you're talking about like set pieces and just like, but that's going away. That whole hugging in thing, that's going away too. Like, it's gonna get to the point where you're probably just gonna have to have your arms to the side and do this, right? But yeah, as far as like sport, ice hockey is still, and that's why I love watching the Panthers, which is crazy because you watching like them in Tampa Bay. They're two good teams, and there's not a single block of ice, except in the rink in South Florida. So, them being that dominant, that's kind of crazy as well. Or it said that's a whole different story to diving and acting like your shot's ridiculous, but it's still grit there. Yeah, there is, but even like if you look at, the Italian league, late 90s, early 2000s, that was the league. Like, yeah, the Prem was good, but the Italians was where you went to play. I mean, you had OG Ronaldo there. You had pretty much the Italian Italy national team there. You had guys like Totti. I like Totti as well, but he's one of the few as well that I have. Francesco Totti. But yeah, you had those good Italian teams, and then the slide tackles, while not as dangerous they used to be, there's more than, say, the NFL, and they're calling it. I'm an American football coach, man, and going back to that, right? We're talking about how great those defenses were. Do you think that the 2000 Ravens would be able to play like they played then now? No. Ed Reed would be ejected every other game. Ray Lewis will be fined for hitting the quarterback too hard. Terrell Suggs probably get held every other play. Like, it's not the same. It's not the same. And I feel like that's where sport has gotten slow, man. It's going off. And it's sad to see. Like I said, as a coach myself, as a person who coaches, I get it. Your helmet's got to be safer. Your pads got to be safer. You know, we teach the, what they call it, Seahawks tackling, where you kind of grab them and roll, like to make sure that, you know, your head's not in the way. You know, heads up tackling. I get that. But I miss the days where somebody would just take a shoulder and whatever it landed on, head, neck, chest, that's it. He out of there. Like, you know, I've watched, as a Dolphins fan, I watched was it Cleo Lemon? Pretty sure it was Pat White. Pat White get tackled on the sideline. And I'm pretty sure it was actually Ryan Taylor as well. I'm pretty sure it was him. He knocked him clean out. Yeah, knocked him clean out. But yeah, that's what sports has become. Yeah, as far as fandom though, and it's great that I'm talking to guys from the U.S. and you know there might be some guys in the UK that are watching as well, but being a fan, like, I love how we can talk about this. I love how sports brings you together. It doesn't matter what sport it is. Cause I banter all the time, man. Like I've got Spuds mates and I have United mates, and I think that being a fan is one of the most pure things. I know a lot of us in the Arsenal community. The Arsenal community could definitely be hit or miss. You know, you could be very buddy with, you know, the community, or they could hate your guts, you know, especially when you're in this YouTube thing. But I think football in itself is definitely not just football, but sport in general. It's definitely something that makes the world better, man. It makes the world better being a fan. Rick Jar said, "How did you go from liking NFL to liking football?" Well, I assume when you say NFL, American football. Growing up in South Florida, I'm from Miami, so growing up in South Florida, you're exposed to the sport. It's like you're exposed to sport all the time. But I also grew up in a little town called Belglade, where half of it was like Americans, like black Americans, who played American football, and the other half was Mexicans, Haitians, Caribbeans, and they liked football. So, you know, when I was growing up, you would go into, we had the bowling alley, which used to be a bowling alley, then it got torn down, and then they repurposed it as a market, but still called it the bowling alley. Weird stuff. But you would go in the market, and it's where the Mexican food was. And when you went into there, they would always have Liga MX on. So you'd see, you know, Guadalajara, you'd see Club America. So yeah, when you go in there, you know, when I used to go in there, and I was just always looking, because I didn't have cable growing up. So I would just always look. And they seem to be passionate about it, man. They seem to be passionate about watching Mexican football. So growing up, I was actually a Mexico fan. Little Puerto Rican kid being a Mexico. Puerto Rico team wasn't that good. So it was always Mexico. I didn't like the U.S. because the way they played football bored me to death. So, you know, I started watching international football. So started watching Mexico and like the Gold Cup and Copa America, whatever's on public TV. And then I really got into football when I moved to Spain. When I got into club football like heavy when I moved into Spain. And I got to Spain. I moved to Spain 2015. And my first experience with Spain, I was near Sevilla, and they had like this thing where, you know, they gave cheap discounted tickets to the local club, and Sevilla happened to be the one. They also had it to go to Betis, but I ended up going to Sevilla first. And then I actually never ended up going to Betis because I had to work. But I moved to Spain, and I went to Sevilla, and I remember watching, it was Sevilla versus Cordoba, and just them singing and them being excited. Like one side of the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan singing to the other side, it was a beautiful thing, man. It was something that I couldn't give me a minute. See, cause I don't see the held comments, but uh, or it says, "Great talking with you, but about to bounce. You got my follow and my bell. See you in the future, Gooner Rican. Thanks for stopping over. I appreciate it." Um, but I went to Sevilla, and I um I saw the match, and it was great. And the guy who I went with, one of my friends who I went with, he was like, "Hey, if you think this is amazing, you should watch Prim." So I started watching Prim. Um, and then I found it hard to settle on a club. Sevilla was easy for me because I lived near there. They were the local club. Well, it's actually Cadiz, but Cadiz were like, I think, in like the second or third division. So Sevilla were the La Liga, and this was around the time they were in the Europa League as well. So it was just very easy to watch. Um, Started liking them. And then, as I said, my mate said you should like football, and I watched a couple teams. I won't name say a couple teams. If you watch my other streams, you'll know. And then my wife chose Arsenal, and I ended up moving from Spain. No, I was still in Spain, and then I ended up going to London. We wanted to go to London, and we just walked around London. And she was like, "Hey, Arsenal Stadium's not too far from it. It's right on the tube. Why don't we go?" So we went. We did the tour, and I fell in love. Fell in love with Arsenal. 2016. Got back home to Spain. Became a member. Became on the season ticket waiting list. And yeah, that's it. That's it. I've been an Arsenal fan ever since. It's been a hell of a ride. But yeah, American football for me has always been a constant, man. Being from South Florida, football is everything. It's everything. Um, you know what? I played baseball as well. I did play baseball. Uh, I played I played football in high school. I played when I was in Spain. We had like was it like a flat? We had like an amateur team. I played with them. I was rubbish. They put me on the wing, and my touch was awful. Not gonna lie to you, I did get a couple assists because I can pass the ball. That's how I am in basketball as well. Can't shoot anything but threes and pass the ball. I can defend, shoot threes, and pass the ball. That's it. But yeah, that's it, Rick John. So yeah. Richard, where are you from? Are you from Florida as well? If you're still in there. And how did you get into your teams? I always like that. I always like to hear stories. Anybody who's in the chat, if you're still in here, you still watching. How did you get in your teams? Let's talk. Like, what made you like your teams? And if you're Arsenal fans, or if you're not Arsenal fans, you're football fans. What made you like Arsenal? If you're not from England, and I think that's a question I get as well. I live in Tampa now, but grew up in Jamaica. I love Jamaica, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been to Jamaica once, and I'm not gonna lie, I did the touristy stuff. I went to I flew into Montego Bay. Negril. That's where we were, Negril. But we went like around the country and stuff. And like Jamaica, for me, there's a certain beauty in living off the land. The saddest thing though is, of course, gentrification and colonization. We have it in Puerto Rico. But living off the land and being happy with what you have in Jamaica, I thought was beautiful. And I hope the Jamaican national team makes some noise in the World Cup, just for all the Caribbeans, man. Puerto Rico ain't getting there. Dominican Republic ain't really doing too hot either. Haiti's in there, so I hope that Haiti and did Haiti make it? I think Haiti made it, but I hope that Haiti and Jamaica, man, put on for the Caribbean. I think we need it. We might not get that far, but I'm hoping. I live in Tampa now. I grew up in Jamaica. Before I moved to Jamaica, lived in South Florida. Yep. And I like Tampa, man. I've been in Tampa once or twice too. I can't stand Tampa teams though. I won't lie to you. Hate the Bucks. I'm not a fan of Lightning either. With the Haitian flag, how I say. But yeah, Yeah, man. I think one thing that I'm usually asked, because I like I said, I live in the UK now. One thing I'm usually asked is, um, do I feel the same about kind of sports teams? Like, do I feel the same rush? I guess because I think when you when you pick a team, it's a little bit different than being kind of born and bred into a team, right? So I'm from Miami. Funny enough, right? When it comes to American football, my neither one of my parents is they're not Miami fans, right? They are Dallas Cowboys fans. Both of my parents are Dallas Cowboys fan. I am a Hurricanes fan, right? My father is a Florida State's fan. He loves the Seminoles. It eats me up inside when I have to go into the store and buy Seminoles and Cowboys things. It is the worst thing I could possibly imagine, but I love the guy, so I do it. But and he's from Miami. The difference is my dad's old, like he's an older guy. And when the Dolphins were around, when the Dolphins were created, he was pretty much grown. So the Cowboys were first, and he said that was America's team, and that's who he chose. The Seminoles and the Hurricanes thing, I don't understand. Maybe because the Seminoles had like Deion Sanders and those lot. I don't know. I never asked him, but yeah, he likes the Seminoles, man. So for me, the reason I got into Miami team, one, because I'm from Miami, but also because my uncle, my late uncle, he was into the Dolphins. He had season tickets to the Marlins. So he's the reason that I got into all of the local teams. I mean, back at it now, would I have rather been a Dolphins fan or Cowboys fan? Probably Dolphins, because it's different when you know that you suck than every year being told you're going to win the Super Bowl and falling short. And this is how I feel now as an Arsenal fan. Every year you're supposed to win the league and we've fallen short. So I'm feeling that. But yeah, I wouldn't want 20 years of that or 30 years of that now, actually. So I'm glad with that. As far as the Seminoles, I had to watch them win the national championship. It was tough. You know what's crazy about the Seminoles as well? So some of the guys who won the national championship, I went to school with, bro. And I think that's what made it even worse. Like, you had guys like Dalvin Cook, and Devontae Freeman and Calvin Mitchell. I went to school with those guys, bro. Watching them not win it for the Hurricanes, but win it for the Seminoles ate me up inside. And then I had to deal with my father. It was tough, man. It was tough times. But we back on the up and up. Fell in love with football when I moved to Jamaica. Seeing how the whole communities would come together to watch high school football on Saturdays was surreal for me. Love the passion. Yeah, man. High school football. You talking about football? Like footy or American football? Cause in my American football for me, right? And you guys can look this up. As I said, I'm from Miami, but I grew up in a small town called Belglade. And the American football team, the Glade Central Raiders, growing up, bro, we had guys go to the NFL. But that team for me was everything. It was everything. Like, my dream, when I was 10 years old, my dream was to play for the Glade Central Raiders. And I got to play it as a JV. I didn't get to play as a varsity guy because, unfortunately, being a defensive tackle or defensive end or linebacker at 5'6" is not really feasible. And when you can't run it fast and be a running back, then yeah, I wasn't fast enough to be a running back, and I was too short to actually play. I did do a little bit of line, but I hated the O-line, and then I moved. So yeah, but yeah, that's what I wanted to do, play for Glade Central. And putting on a jersey, even as a JV, was a dream come true for me. So yeah, I get it. As far as football, I used to, my senior year, I was the water boy for the ladies football team of the Miami Central Rockets. My high school, where I ended up moving, Miami Central. So the passion for football was always there. And they were pretty decent. I mean, I think they were like middle of the road, but I always liked the sport, so I couldn't actually play it, so I decided to help the ladies. Um, Which I said started like an Arsenal because everyone was either Man U or Liverpool, and I knew I didn't want to be one of them. I played basketball in 114, but didn't know who Henri was. Obviously, I found out. Excuse me. Um, yeah, that's kind of the same as well. Like growing up, you see a lot of Man United fans in South Florida. Um, and yeah, I've never been. For me, it's always how I feel. It's always how I feel about supporting somebody. It's always feel how the club make me feel, because I feel like when I wear the kit, it's a reflection of me. Like the club that I chose is a reflection of me. Like I choose Miami team, come from Miami. I'm a Miami boy. I'm a South Florida boy. That's who I am. I chose Arsenal because Arsenal are an inclusive club. Man, they are the club that I feel like represents London. You know, not Tottenham, not Chelsea. Like I feel like anybody from any walk of life could play for Arsenal, and that for me was enough. Right? It's enough. Um, I always wore growing up. I always wore 23. Um, Jordan for Jordan. That's it, pretty much. And then I started wearing 13. Because Dan Marino was 13, and 13 is a good number. Lucky number 13. So yeah. But Arsenal for me, and that's the thing with me. Like being an Arsenal fan, I've never seen us winning but the FA Cup. Like so, it's not me being a glory hunter. It's me just feeling like the club was for me. Feeling like the club kind of represented who I am as a person and who I kind of want to be. So, yeah, that's kind of my bit on Arsenal. So, we got the Haitian flags in there. Haiti, I hope Haiti does well because for me, Haiti need it, man. I grew up with Haitians. I love Haitians. I love the culture. I love the food. And I'm hoping that Haiti represent for like the lesser known or lesser thought about Caribbean islands. Because when people think about the Caribbean, they do think about Jamaica and the Bahamas. They forget about the Lesser Antilles. They forget about Cuba. They forget about you see Dominican Republic, and the only reason you see Dominican Republic because you've got baseball. They're very good at baseball. But yeah, I like to see Haiti as like the first one of the first independent nations in the world from colonial rule. Actually, you know, be on the world stage and say we're resilient, especially with what's going on in Haiti. We're resilient and we're representing something bigger. And I know a lot of my Zoe friends will be all right. Rick Jar said, funny story, Patrick Vieira was my brother's first ever coach in MLS at New York City FC. That's dope. That's dope. Um, I just realized who you were. I just realized who you were. It's funny. But yeah, Patrick Vieira. I mean, imagine getting coached by Patrick Vieira. Because Patrick Vieira was at New York City FC, and Henri was at Red Bulls. New York Red Bulls. That's where he was. The New York team, I feel like the New York team's got everybody, man, except for Beckham went to LA, and that's how he ended up getting the Miami MLS team. So, yeah, man, it's been great. It's been great chatting to you guys. I love hearing about people's stories about loving Arsenal and being the sports fans, man. I love sports. I want to actually I want to make this channel a sports channel. I just think that it's easier because I live in the UK to start off as an Arsenal channel. And I watch Arsenal. Arsenal. That's another thing I want to talk about. Like as far as like watching sport. So me being in the UK right now, it is 9:19 p.m. Yeah, 9:19 p.m. Right. Back home in the US, it's what 4:15. If there is a NFL game on a Sunday, right? And it's the late game. It's starting now. This is when it started, right? And as you guys know, NFL games go 3 or 4 hours. So that game isn't finishing until 1 o'clock, right? Then I got to go to work the next day. Or for some reason, the Dolphins kept being like, they kept giving them primetime games and Monday night games and Thursday night games. And it's so hard to watch, like, the NFL here on a Thursday night. Like, even the Super Bowl started at, what time did it start? It started at like 10 o'clock. And I stayed up until 1 to watch the halftime show. And then once the halftime show was over, I was done. Because if my team ain't in it, like, I watch NFL, but if my team ain't in it, which they haven't been in a long time, I can't justify staying up and having to go to work next day. The thing with the Hurricanes is, since they play on a Saturday, even if they do have a late game, I'll just watch it, sleep all Sunday, and then, get back up. Like, but the thing with Arsenal is, because they play every day, or not every, they play during the day, it makes it easier for me to watch. Or if they're playing like tomorrow night, I'm home from work. So once I get home from work, I can watch the game. And that's the beauty of being a fan, especially because I've seen there's a Japanese Dolphins fan waking up early. As far as Arsenal, my South Florida Gunners, and I'll always shout them out because I love the South Florida Gunners. Most of them are, coming to the chat. They support. They, we banter. They call me negative. That's all right. It's okay. I'll be positive one day. But those guys, they're waking up 10 o'clock. They're getting up 10 o'clock to watch matches. And, guys like BBK, who was in the chat early, he's in Washington State, man. He's waking up probably 4 a.m. to watch a match. And that's the amazing thing. Like, when you fall in love with a sports team, when you fall in love with a club, like, it doesn't matter how early or late it is, you'll watch them, right? You'll watch them. I watched the Hurricanes National Championship. I stayed up. I was gutted. But for the Dolphins, it's really hard on a Sunday to do it. Also, my wife bans me from watching more than one of my sports teams because, as I've explained, none of my sport teams are very good at the moment. So if I watch 3 or 4 sports teams not be good and I'm sulking the entire weekend, it's not good for my marriage. So I can only pick one sports team at a time. I pick Arsenal. I can watch the Hurricanes. I can watch the Dolphins when it's early enough. But Arsenal are my passion right now. And that's, as I said, that's not to say that I love any team. I love all my teams equally. Arsenal just closest to me. Arsenal more convenient. And honestly, Arsenal make me feel good, man. Even when we play trash, they make me feel, they give me that same feeling that I get when I watch the Hurricanes. That same feeling when I get when I watch the Dolphins. So, yeah, for me, it's just natural. It felt like, and I will always say, Sevilla was my first love. Arsenal was my true love. And football is a beautiful game, man. You can watch it any and everywhere. As I said, in Jamaica, and Haiti, and Cuba, and Puerto Rico. Why I say it like that? Puerto Rico. You can watch it anywhere, man. So that's the sport. That's the beauty of football. I just always like football, in the background. So now we've kind of hit the end of the show, and now I'm going to talk about Kit, because that's the Kit moment. I'm going to have a little graphic that says the Kit moment, but I always talk about the kits that I have behind me. And as I said, I picked 2 that mean, a lot to me. One I just picked up, but the other one, it's... So we were talking earlier about defense. This is my favorite player of all time. Zach Thomas. If you guys know American football, Zach Thomas, middle linebacker for the Miami Dolphins. I think this one says it was from... It says on this side. Oh. So this one's from 2006. This is a 2006 version. It's a remake, but 2000, because I have his orange one. 2004, 2006. Zach Thomas, like, for me, as a Miami fan, I felt like he was on par with Ray Lewis. He might not have been that good. I mean, he is a Hall of Famer, but him and Jason Taylor for me were phenomenal as a defensive guy. I mean, Patrick Surtain as well, Junior Seau, as I said, Channing Crowder. But Zach Thomas, for me, I love Zach Thomas because he was undersized. You know, Ray Lewis, big dude, big size. Zach Thomas was like me, little bulldog. Like, you know, he didn't have supreme speed, he didn't have supreme strength, but he was everywhere, man. And for me, that was a player I felt like represented me. And I think either he ended up marrying Jason Taylor's sister or the vice versa. But yeah, they and just those two players. I don't have my Jason Taylor jersey anymore, which is a shame. I could only find Zach Thomas at the time. But Zach Thomas, one of my favorite players. And I love that jersey. I have it in orange. I think the orange one, I actually have a picture when my brother was a baby that I was wearing it, and it was my favorite jersey of all time. Obviously, I grew out of it, and it got lost, but I love that. So that's when I want to present that one. And one day, you know, when we get, one day when we get people on the channel, I'm going to ask them, you know, about their favorite kit and the kit that means the most to them. Because I think it's a beautiful thing, man. I like hearing stories. I like hearing experiences. And I think that's what brings us as fans together. Us talking about, you know, even though we might like rival teams, you know, a couple guys like the Pittsburgh Penguins, the New York, you know, Yankees. You know, I'm not a fan of the Yankees, but I get what it feels like to, you know, when your team wins. And that's the thing that kind of pushes everybody together. This next one, right? So, any Arsenal fans, if you're in the chat, you know this one. This was not only last time we won, it was one of the Invincibles. And I just purchased this kit. I found it on Classic Football Shirts. It was relatively cheap. And the reason why it's relatively cheap, and the reason I brought it up to show it, is because it has the Prem Champions patch on it, but it also has the Champions League patch. And on the back, it has a random number that nobody actually wore. I think I looked it up. It was a goalkeeper, not an outfield player. But so it made it relatively cheap, and that's the actual, you know, numbers, actual kit, right? It's authentic. And the reason I bought it is because my first ever Arsenal kit that I bought for myself, my first ever kit that I actually got customized, I actually have. I'm going to show it to you guys, right? So, you guys asked, like, you know, me when I first became an Arsenal fan. I didn't know about the different competitions, right? I didn't know, like, I knew about them being different, but as far as, like, ordering the kit, I just saw what I liked, and I didn't know that certain competition had certain letterings and stuff like that. I was just gassed that I was able to buy an Arsenal shirt, right? And I bought this one. You guys remember this one, right? And you're like, oh, you know, I got a Champions League patch, and back then they had the UEFA respect on it. But then I got the Prem numbering, cause I didn't really like the font at the time, and I thought the Prem numbering was cool because it had the lion on it. But yeah, so, and this is the actual authentic shirt because they had the heat ready, and then the badge is kind of that, you know, that yeah. And if you guys remember this kit as well, this was a skin tight kit. This thing, you could see every player's heartbeat. Alexis Sanchez, you can see in this one. But so yeah, I did that, and because I didn't know better. I didn't know, like, you probably don't do. I've never worn that jersey, by the way. That other one, I've never worn it. Partially because I also didn't know that the Puma kits were skin tight. So I got my size at the time, which was, I think this one is an extra large, and I was thinking, oh, it's an extra large. You know, it'll fit back. No, it did not. You know, you could see my heartbeat and me breathing. So, yeah, it was just a funny thing. So when I saw this one, that it had, you know, the Prem and the Champions League patch on it, I was just kind of like, maybe it's meant to be. So I bought it, and this is one of the shirts along with that other O2 one, the hybrid one, which I just think is iconic of Arsenal. Like when you think about Arsenal, when you think about their greatest ever teams, you'll probably have what the 89 kit and this, the Invincibles kit, right? So, and then of course, the Sega kit, the Will Toward Sega kit. But yeah, just looking at that, I was like, I had to have it. It was relatively cheap, and it's one of those kits like I really want to wear. I'm hoping to the heavens that we win the league or the FA Cup or that we have a trophy because I'd really love to wear this. It'll be the summer, and I'll be a little bit fitter as well. So it would be nice to just wear, if we won the Prem, wear the jersey from the last time we won the Prem to the trophy parade of us winning the Prem now. I think would be amazing. I think it'd be amazing. So, yep. Those are the two I have for this week. And then, of course, my hoodie, Miami Hurricanes. You can see it. But I won't always go through the hoodie. I just wear different ones because, much to my wife's chagrin, I have a closet full of hoodies and a closet full of jerseys. So what better way to actually make it seem like it's a good investment by sharing it with you guys in the Waffle House. So, yep. And with that, we reached the end of another Waffle House, man. I hope you guys had a good time. Thank you guys for stopping by. Big up Rick Jar. Big up Ulrich. Big up Brian. Stoney. Pito. BBK Sports. And I'm pretty sure there was another person in there. Maybe that was it. Yep. I think I bigged up everybody. But thank you so much for stopping by the Waffle House and listening to me waffle. We'll be back on next Tuesday. Let me see. Let me see if we'll be back on next Tuesday because I know that we're playing Champions League again. And I want to tell you guys the wrong thing. I'm waiting for my app to update. But yes, I know we'll definitely be back on the weekend. So I have the live setup for a weekend. I'm going to do, actually no, not the live setup. Tomorrow. It's actually tomorrow. Tomorrow I have a live setup for the countdown. So not really the countdown, but I'm going to do the team sheet. So about 45 minutes before the match, I'll go through the team sheet. Brighton's a scary one for me, man. Not because of Brighton, but because of Arsenal. I think that... Bless up, Cooper. Cooper, since you're in, right? You just come in, right? And I got about... I want to go for an hour and a half, so I could waffle a little bit. Cooper, my question is your favorite sports team, right? Because I know you're from New York, so your favorite sports teams and why you like them. Why you like the sports team? I'll give Cooper a little bit to answer since you just came into the chat. And then once I talk about Cooper's team, I'll probably dip out because my wife is looking at me funny and I need to eat. So, next Tuesday, let's see. Playing Wednesday. So we're playing Bayer Leverkusen on Wednesday. So I will be back on Tuesday. And I'll probably talk about that a little bit. Once we kind of get up and running, the Waffle House is going to move to a Saturday. I want to do the Waffle House on a Saturday. One, because I think people will be a little bit more available. But also because it's so much easier to chill on a Saturday. And we could talk for 2 or 3 hours and I ain't got to go to work the next day. Right now, as I said, it's 9:30. And I got to eat, get my stuff together for tomorrow, and get ready. So because I still work a full-time job, it's just a lot easier. But the only reason I'm doing Waffle House during the middle of the week is because we're playing in the middle of the week. I find myself doing ammo checks and previews on the weekends. So eventually, like probably when the season ends. Once the season ends, I'll do Transfer Tango. So if you guys know Transfer Tango, I'll be doing that again. Um, Once the season ends, I probably do it once a week. And yeah, I work to doing the Waffle House on the weekends. So we can just chill, man. We can chill, relax, and hopefully we doing a Waffle House where I've literally forgotten that it's a general chat and I'm only talking Arsenal. That's what I want to get to because we won the league. Cooper came back. Yankees because my dad's a Red Sox fan. My Giants, my Giants. Who the hell wants to be a Jets fan? You know what? Jar and Rick Jar and Brian are. Is it Rick Jar? Or was it Oric? I think was a Giants fan as well. So yeah, yeah. You had quite a couple of Giants fans in the chat, man. Big up the Giants fan. You guys have definitely fallen off a cliff, but like you said, who would want to be a Jets fan? The crazy thing is when I was coaching for, because I was coaching the Royal Navy team once upon a time. They had an event with the Jets, and they were like giving Jets jerseys. And good thing the coaches, because bro, if I know that I'm a coach of the Royal Navy and I am a representative, but bro, I don't feel like I could put on a Jets jersey. I feel like I just wouldn't come to the thing. Like, the only way I'm wearing a Jets jersey is if the Jets are paying me because I'm an actual coach for the Jets. And I'll be just like that. I don't know if you've seen today, that Arsenal fan who works at Tottenham, the scout, who says, I'll never let the badge touch my skin. That'll be me. I'll be wearing undershirts and hoodies, bro. But yeah, Yankees because your dad's a Red Sox fan. That's just like me being Miami, my dad being a Florida State fan. Like, yeah, I can't. It pains me when my hand has to touch that Florida State merch. Florida, I'm alright. Florida Gators, I got a couple friends, they Florida Gators fans. I can live. Florida State, cannot stand them. Celtics, remember going with my dad to the old Boston Garden. Yeah, I mean, I imagine that's an experience, Cooper, man. The Celtics, the old Celtics. Yeah, I imagine that's an experience, man. I mean, I went to the closest thing to that, which probably ain't even close. I went to watch the Miami Heat when Shaq was there. When he was there, and we won the title. I went to my first Heat game, and I remember it was actually against the Indiana Pacers, and I never forget why, because they beat us, and Indiana always beat us except when it counted. But because I think Reggie Miller was still playing. But yeah, man, I remember the Big D's with the like, bro. Yeah, I remember that. So I imagine what going to the Garden would feel like. Buffalo Sabres fan, who wants to be a Sabres fan? I mean, it's better than being a Bills fan. Yeah, I mean, like I said, my Panthers won. So, Bird Parrish and ZJ and the Chief Robert. Yeah, I imagine that going to the Garden during them times was like going to it was like the mecca of basketball at a point, right? Because it was those guys, and then you had the Lakers, and that was it. So, I love the Arsenal. Yeah, and I went through that as well, Cooper. I went through how I fell in love with Arsenal, and why I love it so much, why I got this kit as well. I told my brother that I would support him no matter what team he played for, but if he ever played for Spurs, I'd stop watching him play. Yeah, bro. Yeah. It's just one team. Like, it's just certain teams. Like, with baseball, do I like the Yankees? No, but I don't feel as passionate. Being a former Florida Marlins fan, I don't feel as passionate about the Yankees as I feel like about the Jets. Like, I hate the Jets. I hate the Patriots as well, but the Jets, bro, nah. Like, if my brother's a football team, he went for the player, and we went for the Jets, bro. Like, I'm gonna watch you because I'm your brother and I love you, and it would be very. If you invited me to a game, I have to come. I ain't wearing no Jet stuff, though. I'm coming in all black like it's a funeral. I'm coming in all black like it's a funeral. I ain't wearing no jet stuff, so it ain't happening. Um, but yeah, Spurs. Yeah, yeah. I just because I know Spurs fans, and I've been. And the crazy thing, and I told you guys this before, that stadium is nice, man. I went there to watch the NFL. I went there to watch the Saints versus the Vikings a couple years ago, and that stadium's nice, man. I can't lie to you, that stadium's nice. It's honestly it's nicer than the Emirates, but a crap team playing it, so it is what it is. It is what it is. They was like, I saw the Tottenham stuff too. I didn't touch nothing. I was like this. Do the thing. Nah, I ain't touching nothing, bro. But I did. Saints fans, by the way, them dudes travel. I didn't know. This is a fan stream, and this is where we've gone. We're waffling, but I didn't know New Orleans Saints fans travel like they travel. Like, cause you in England, you come to England, and London is probably the most diverse place in England besides Birmingham. But yeah, I went to the stadium and I was hearing, the accents. I was like, "What's going on here?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I flew from New Orleans." I was like, "Oh jeez." But yeah, it was great, man. It was great. Cooper said you got to run, and I'm gonna run too. I was just waffling because Cooper came in there, but and he says, "I love everything about Arsenal except the PR." Yeah, man. Trust the PR, sis. PR, sis. As an Arsenal fan, and I'll close with this. As an Arsenal fan, I get why they do the PR. I get, they want the club to, they want the fans to back them. They want the fans to be there. They want the fans to not be fighting amongst themselves. The issue with Arsenal is the PR is what causes us to fight, right? If our manager was just straightforward, if he didn't do all the parlor tricks, if he don't do all the crap, if he just came out and was honest, and when we lost, they took it on the chin and say, yeah, we weren't good enough, and it didn't blame the ball, and didn't blame the weather, and didn't blame this and that, I feel like there would be less fracture. But because of that, I think the PR is part of the reason there's a fracture. But like I said, to Cooper, to Ritjar, to Brian, last 90 days, I'm on the train. I'm putting both feet on the train. Let's win by any means necessary. And I hope that at the end of the season, I'm sitting here on a Saturday with, my community, with the people who support me, and we're talking about Arsenal winning the league. Because they the only sports team I think that I have at this point of the year that can. Actually, the Hurricanes in basketball might do it. But the Heat aren't good. The Dolphins season is already over. The Hurricanes didn't make it. To start off the year, the Arsenal are the only team that can win something. And I'm hoping to the heavens that they do. I'm hoping that they do. So everybody who stopped by, I appreciate it. As I said, I'll be back on Sunday, I think it is. Nope, I keep forgetting the midweek game. I'll be back on tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow to do a live before. I'll be back tomorrow to do a live after. Then we'll get into the weekend stuff where we'll cover Mansfield Town game that we definitely should win. And then we will be back on another Tuesday right before our Champions League, right before a away game, Leverkusen, talking about the Arsenal. Thanks to everyone that stopped by, man. I appreciate it. It looks like 35 of you stopped by. I appreciate everybody who commented. I appreciate everybody who, even BBK with the grits, I appreciate him. And one day we got to get BBK on here to waffle with us a little bit and talk about, his sports teams and him being a fan on the West Coast. But peace and love. I hope that everything goes well for you. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hope you have a good night, a good day, a good evening, wherever you are in the world. As always,